Hey guys, wanted to share an experience that I had over the past month. So I started eating what's known as a carnivore diet. Um, which basically means not eating plant foods. And now, in my case, I've been eating about 95% animal products, and the other 5% has been a few plant foods like a little bit of chocolate, an orange here and there, and a little bit of honey. But again, 95% animal products, mainly beef, eggs, butter, a little bit of bacon, and that's pretty much it. So, just for some context, the reason that I started this diet is because I was having some pretty significant health problems. I've been having low back and abdominal pain for the last couple years, which started off very mild and gradually got worse, and then a few months ago it started getting much worse much quicker. So I had a couple of ultrasounds done and some digestive analysis, which all came back negative, unfortunately. So I was kind of running out of options, and I have been in the natural health space for over 25 years because of serious health challenges that I had. And so I've tried pretty much every diet under the sun. I was vegan for almost 10 years, vegetarian for probably 5, tried the keto diet, also did a mixed or omnivore diet. And although I probably slowed down the progression of the degeneration of my body, I really wasn't making any forward progress. And so that's what I've been shooting for a long time. But when my abdominal and low back pain started getting worse, I knew I had to do something. I had heard about this diet a couple years ago, but really discounted it because it just sounds crazy, radical, and just didn't make sense, especially because I've had a lot of digestive issues, and I assumed that animal products were a lot harder to digest. So it really just didn't make a lot of sense for me. But the other thing I did was, before I started this diet, I did a week-long water fast, hoping that that would make a difference. Unfortunately, I really didn't notice any significant benefit from the water fast. I mean, it may have set me up for the results that I have gotten once I started this diet, but after the fast was over, I can't say that I noticed anything significant. So, after a couple of days of eating this way, again, 95% animal foods, I noticed the back and abdominal pain getting worse, which was a concern that I had. I thought that it might make my condition worse. And so I was really having a hard time functioning at that point. And I said, okay, I'm going to give this one more day, and if it's not improved, I'm going to quit. So luckily, that night, I woke up in the middle of the night and noticed that my back pain and abdominal pain was probably 25 or 30% better. I said, great, so I can continue the diet because it's getting better. And I had also noticed at that point that my sinuses had cleared up quite a bit. I've had sinus issues since I was a teenager, and especially in the morning when I get up, my sinuses are usually pretty congested and sometimes plugged. So my sinuses cleared up, and I also noticed that my stomach was quiet for the first time in forever. Again, since I was like a teenager. And so I didn't have all the gurgling and, bloating and gas and all of that. It was probably 80% better. So that was really a positive sign. The next thing was, I think it was about 3 days after my back pain started getting better, that it was completely gone. And of course I was thrilled. And I thought, okay, we're really starting to see some benefit. I'm definitely sticking with this. And a few days later, I noticed that I was sleeping a lot less. So before I started this diet, I was probably sleeping around 11 hours a day, believe it or not. So I would typically sleep 9 to 10 hours at night, and then usually maybe an hour to an hour and a half nap during the day. So average of about 11 hours. And now, less than a week into this diet, and I was sleeping 7 hours a night. And if I did take a nap during the day, it was typically 15 minutes, and I would get up and feel good. So this basically gave me almost 4 hours of extra time, which was huge. Let's see. So the next thing I noticed is I've always been a very cold person, and I like it around 75 degrees. That's a very comfortable temperature for me, and it's been that way, again, since I was a teenager. About a week in, and I noticed that I was sitting here, and it was about 65 degrees in my space, and other than my feet, which are still cold, the rest of my body felt warm for the first time, again, since I was a teenager. And so I would say that was definitely at least a 7 or 8 degree swing in my temperature comfort level. Now, I'd heard that this diet can help to regulate your thyroid, which is responsible for your body temperature. Again, another huge change. The next thing that I noticed is that I have had a rash on my inner thighs for probably 7 or 8 years now. And although it would kind of come and go, sometimes it would be better and not bad at all. Sometimes it would be really inflamed and burn and itch. And by the way, it's not an STD because I've been tested for all of those. That rash is now 95% better. There's no itching, there's no burning, and it's been that way. It's been 95% better for at least 2 to 3 weeks now. Another benefit, I've had really bad postnasal drip for, again, since I was a teenager, and sometimes it can be very annoying and very drawn out, like especially after meals. I can have, clearing my throat for like 5 minutes, and sometimes really hard to even get it clear. So that's probably, again, I would say 70 to 80% better. Also, after probably 4 or 5 days, I noticed my joint pain, probably again 70 to 80% better. My joint and muscle pain has been getting worse very gradually over the years, and this is the first time that I have ever made a significant improvement in my joint and muscle pain. I am also working out again, so I'm lifting weights and I do a little bit of running, and I've noticed that my recovery time is significantly lower, and my soreness after workouts is at least 50% better. So that's a really nice benefit. So all of these benefits happen within about 2 weeks, which is pretty phenomenal to have all of those changes in such a short amount of time, especially given the fact that I gave this diet very little chance of actually making a positive difference. And like I said, I thought chances were it would actually make my symptoms worse. So now there have been a few minor issues that I've had. One of them being that I've had some itching in my, let's say, south of the border. And that started a couple days after I started this diet. And now that is 95% gone. And so it took a couple weeks for that to clear up. I'm sure that had something to do with what was going on in my digestive tract. The other thing is I've been having some minor heart palpitations. And according to other people on this diet, a lot of people have issues with electrolyte balance, because when you do a really low carbohydrate diet like this, which I'm probably only getting 20 grams of carbohydrate a day, most of what happens is when you're on a real low carb diet like that, you lose a lot of water, and that water contains a lot of electrolytes. So you're losing all that water and all the electrolytes with it. So that can cause a little bit of dizziness and heart palpitations for me. Not anything that I'm too worried about, because I've had those issues quite a bit in my lifetime, so it's not that concerning for me. I have upped my trace mineral intake and things like magnesium, and it seems to be getting significantly better. Those are really the only two issues that I've had that, symptoms that I didn't have before I started this diet. But like I said, the itching is almost completely resolved, and the dizziness and heart palpitations is getting better. So apparently it can take a while for your body to rebalance, because it's so used to having all those minerals stored in all that water that you're retaining. So hopefully that will be resolved shortly. Oh, the other issue is as far as bowel movements. I did have some diarrhea when I first started for a couple days. It was pretty bad. And now I'm having some constipation, so I just take more magnesium and that takes care of that. Hopefully that will straighten itself out, which according to a lot of people it does. I've heard from a few people that said that they could never get the diarrhea under control, which like I said, that is gone for me now. Hopefully the constipation will get straightened out. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's my story. Today is actually my 30th day, and the plan was to give this diet a month to see what happens. Obviously, I'm thrilled. I'm going to continue with the diet. I'd be a fool not to. I feel amazing, and I'm back to 100% functionality, way better than I was even 2 years ago. So that's phenomenal. So if you have any questions, if you've ever tried this diet, I'd love to hear your story. Please put them in the comments. and I will continue to update this story. And so if you want to keep up to date, you can subscribe to my channel. And thanks for taking the time. Take care.